Have you ever really thought about what's running in the background when you binge a show on Netflix, or listen to your favorite playlist on Spotify, or what's powering NASA's incredible space missions? Well, a lot of the time the answer is a single platform that, believe it or not, started out as a solution to the growing pains of an online bookstore. Today we're diving into the amazing story of Amazon Web Services, or as pretty much everyone calls it, AWS.
So what's the one thing that connects a massive movie streaming service, the agency that sends rovers to Mars, and that cool new app you just downloaded? It's this. They all built their digital empires not on servers in their own closets, but on a platform that somebody else provides. And that someone else is AWS.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the huge scaling problem Amazon was facing internally. Then, we'll see how that sparked a world-changing idea. We'll witness the birth of the cloud, explore the incredible toolbox it became for innovators, and finally, see just how much of our digital world it powers today.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're going back to the early 2000s. Amazon is growing like crazy, right? But it wasn't the giant everything store we know now. It was mostly an e-commerce site, and its own explosive growth was actually becoming a massive, massive headache.
See, here's the problem they had. Every time a new team wanted to launch a feature or a product, they needed their own computer resources. But getting those new servers up and running took forever and cost a ton of money. It was like their success was causing this huge technological traffic jam, and it was slowing down the very innovation that was making them so successful in the first place.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of the frustration. Imagine being an engineer, ready to build something cool, but spending most of your time just waiting for the tools you need. It was a huge bottleneck. And that frustration is what forced them to step back and ask a really important question. There has to be a better way to do this, right? That question was basically the seed for a revolution.
And this, right here, is where the story pivots. They realized the powerful tools they were building to fix their own problems, well, those tools could be useful for everybody else too. This was the big aha moment. The engineers at Amazon figured out that the problems they were dealing with, needing computer power that was scalable, reliable, and didn't break the bank, were universal. Any company trying to build something on the internet was going to hit the exact same wall. So the thinking went, why not turn our internal fix into a product we can sell?
And that idea essentially gave birth to what we now call cloud computing. So what is it, really? The best analogy is the electricity in your house. You don't own a power plant, right? You just plug into the grid and pay for the electricity you use. Cloud computing is the exact same idea, but for things like computing power, data storage, and databases.
And this pricing model, this changed absolutely everything. It's called pay-as-you-go. Before AWS, if you wanted to launch a website or an app, you had to go out and spend thousands, sometimes millions of dollars on physical server hardware before you could even start. This model completely flipped that script. Suddenly, a few people working in a garage could access the same powerful infrastructure as a giant corporation, and they only paid for what they used, penny by penny. The barrier to entry to build the next big thing just disappeared. So, with this game-changing idea and a revolutionary business model, Amazon was finally ready to launch their new platform and show it to the world.
Just look at this timeline, and you can see how fast the momentum built. In 2006, they launched with just 2 core services. By 2009, they're speeding up the entire web with CloudFront. By 2012, they're making it super simple to add third-party software. And then in 2014, a massive leap forward with Lambda. This was the start of the serverless movement, where developers could just upload their code and have it run automatically without ever having to think about a server again. It was just one innovation after another.
But it all started with these two, S3 and EC2. You can think of them as the fundamental building blocks of the cloud. S3 was basically an infinite hard drive for the internet, and EC2 was the raw, rentable computing power, the brains of the operation. By offering just these two things, storage and compute, they gave developers the essential pieces they needed to build almost any application they could dream up.
And from those two simple building blocks, AWS has just exploded. It's become this gigantic, all-encompassing digital toolbox for builders and innovators of every single kind.
So just how big is this toolbox we're talking about? Well, today, AWS offers more than 200 different services. And that's not just, 200 versions of the same thing. We're talking 200 distinct tools. Everything from databases to AI to robotics, all available with the click of a button. So what's actually in there? Well, you've got the basics we've talked about.
compute and storage, but then you also have all these specialized databases, incredibly powerful tools for AI and machine learning, services to connect smart devices, and a whole suite of platforms to analyze huge amounts of data. It's a lot.
It's this massive collection of interconnected tools that makes the platform so unbelievably powerful. It's like having the world's biggest box of digital Lego bricks. Anyone, from a single coder to a huge company, can just pick and choose the exact pieces they need and snap them together to build pretty much anything.
So you take that head start they had, you add that relentless pace of innovation, and what do you end up with? You get the undisputed market leader, the foundational layer for a huge slice of the entire digital economy.
And the numbers really tell the story. As of early 2023, AWS controlled almost a third of the entire global cloud market. That's a pretty comfortable lead over its biggest rivals, Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. Their dominance today is a direct result of just how early and how right they were with that initial vision.
So who exactly is using all this stuff? Well, the list of names kinda speaks for itself. The biggest players in streaming, like Netflix and Spotify. The companies that created the sharing economy, like Airbnb. And even critical government agencies like NASA. All of them, plus millions of other businesses, big and small, trust AWS to run their operations every single day.
And this right here points to one of the secret weapons in their strategy. They aren't just offering services, they're optimizing them, all the way down to the computer chip. They design their own custom chips, called Graviton, which deliver more performance for every single dollar a customer spends. By controlling the hardware itself, they create this performance and cost advantage that is just incredibly hard for anyone else to compete with.
So when you step back and look at the whole story, it's pretty incredible, right? A solution built to fix an internal company problem accidentally became the platform that enabled a whole generation of innovation and now underpins so much of our digital world. It's an amazing journey. Which really only leaves one question: what are they going to build next?